Hey, it's Cledra, and today I want to talk about something serious. This will not be a short video because this is something that touches home and touches deeply for me. I want to talk about weight loss surgery and shame. And I watched a video by patients this morning about it, and I was convicted at that time to talk about it. But now, after my church service, I feel even more I just feel very strongly about sharing what I'm about to share. So, I started my weight loss journey at 246 pounds, and that was back in 2007. And many of you know that that weight gain had a lot to do with a tragic ending to a pregnancy that lasted 6 months. When I got pregnant, I weighed 205. At the end of that pregnancy, I was at 246, and the baby did not survive. Neither did my marriage, and neither did a lot of what looked like my life. The home that my husband at the time and I had built, I ended up having to sell that because the job that I had was about to be dissolved. And so, in a 36-month period, I had the loss of my marriage, my baby, my dream home, where I had lived for 11 years, and a career track, 36 months. So it was a lot. And I was not used to being that heavy. So I was able to join Jenny Craig. I actually won a contest with them, and I called it my video Freedom, that I wanted freedom. And so I was able to go from 246 to 205. But remember, I said 205 was the weight when I got pregnant with that tragic pregnancy. And in spite of all of my hard work and diligence and effort, and even putting myself in therapy, I was not able to get past 205. And it took me about 5 years to, no, it wouldn't have been 5 years. I want to say 4 years to lose from 246 to 205. Now, every time I'd get to 205, I'd bounce back up to like 215, 218. And so I had a therapist to do some deeper evaluation on me, and I had to take some different diagnostic tests. And I was diagnosed with what they call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's something that a lot of people in the military have, and it's as a result of traumatic experience. My traumatic experience, yeah, divorce is traumatic, selling a home is traumatic, having to relocate is traumatic. When you look on the psychological scale of things that impact people emotionally, the deepest and most difficult thing, however, was and still is the loss of my baby. So, during the 6 months that I carried him, I had to still get ultrasounds. And instead of normal ultrasounds where I was watching the baby grow, these were ultrasounds where I was watching him shrink, because I wanted to have another child and I didn't want to have a hysterectomy. I'm sharing these details. If you're interested, you're still watching, they are relevant, so stick with me. So the point is, when I would get to 205, what this therapist was able to help me connect the dots with is that there was trauma that I associated with 205. Severe trauma, actually, to the point where I would sabotage myself and start eating. So when I moved to Atlanta, well, actually, let me back up. Before I moved to Atlanta, when I first got divorced, and trying to rebuild myself socially, I got on Facebook. I actually wasn't on Facebook when I was married. And so I ended up meeting a surgeon on Facebook who had lap band. And so when I moved to Atlanta, this particular surgeon was actually in the Georgia area, and I met with him and got some of the details about lap band surgery. Now, keep in mind I'm 5'10", so I didn't think I would ever qualify for something like that. But in December of 2010, the FDA approved lap band surgery for people who had a BMI of 30. And that was my exact BMI, and also one coexisting illness. And my coexisting illness was hypertension. I'd had high blood pressure probably for 2 years straight and just refused to get on the medication because I thought my hard work and discipline could, just my hard-headedness, all right? So anyway, I went into that lap band surgery July the 6th of 2011. Didn't tell anyone, not even my mother. The significance of that is I talk to my mother every single day. And I didn't tell her because, you know, I'm going full circle now to the shame associated with weight loss surgery. I had a lot of shame about it. Shame that, you know, I'm an engineer. I have 2 degrees in engineering. I had never come face to face with something that hard work and discipline and my connections and my faith and my affirmations and my vision board. You know, I pulled all the tricks of the trade that I had used to accomplish everything in my life out to get below 205, and I just couldn't do it. And I had given myself 4 years to do it. So I went alone to have surgery, lap band, and it was something that I felt so strongly about, getting my temple, my body together. I had the experience of living in a beautiful home, a large home. I was blessed with that, and being miserable. And I wanted a chance to be free in my own body and to live for God and to live for what I believe my ultimate purpose. And in all of this, I was becoming a coach. And I was afraid, you know, if people found out I had lap band, would they discount all the work and all the daily things that I do and say, oh, we can't believe her, she took the easy way out. And so I had an alias on YouTube. I was Wonder Woman at 40. Wonder Woman was like my favorite cartoon character when I was a kid, so that's what I named myself. So the significance of that is that I have this entire community of people who came to know me as Wonder Woman. And at the same time, prior to all of this, remember I said I was on Facebook, I have an entire community of people who know me as the person posting all the workouts, posting my meals, posting, you know, my no matter what, no excuses, get it done attitude, which that exists also. But the bridge that connected the two didn't exist. And it didn't exist because I didn't let it exist. And why was that? You know, there was some shame. And I also was like, what if it doesn't work? So anyway, I want to share this, and because I've come to a place now where I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed at all for my choice. You know, in fact, it would be more shameful to hide this part of my journey or to not be transparent about the emotional gymnastics I went through to get to this point. And even if I didn't have PTSD, I have met so many incredible people who have had lap band, RNY, gastric bypass, and, you know, in some ways, they have shown me how much of a snob I was. A Christian snob. You know, I had very high church attendance with high judgment. And I honestly was one of those people who pointed to people who had weight loss surgery and said, they're lazy, they're undisciplined, and not focused. Why? Because life had not presented me with something that I didn't have the ability to force my way through. But life humbled me. God humbled me to a place of realizing that who am I to point my finger at someone and say, that to risk their life through surgery is an easy way out. Who am I? And who am I now to not disclose this part of my journey for fear that as a coach, there will be people who will not hire me? And you know what? Let me just say, if disclosing this makes someone not hire me, great. Then we know up front we're not a fit. I'm looking for the people who want to work with someone who will tell you the truth about the ups and downs of trying everything. So when I say I've tried everything, I've tried everything and gained a lot through it. So, but my issue that I want to highlight in this video is the shame. You know, you have to be careful about what you say about someone's ability or capability when you don't really know. You don't really know what they're struggling with. And that's why I'm so opposed to, what I hear so often. It's the discipline, put your head in and no excuses. I mean, yeah, you have to have that, but sometimes people need additional intervention because we're all not the same. And the things that we've experienced and the way we have integrated those experiences emotionally, they're different for every person. And I believe it's only God's grace that gets us through these things. I mean, when I went to support groups with other women who had lost babies, I had to stop going because they were making me feel worse. I mean, the stories were just so dark. And, people tell me my story's dark, but when you've lived with it, it's just what you know. But anyway, it's 12 minutes. I just had to talk about this and get it out because my life, I am committed to service wholeheartedly. I'm committed to setting women free who know that they are carrying not only physical weight, but emotional and spiritual weight. I'm committed to it because I've lived it and I still live it. I'm just at a different end of the spectrum now. But I have not forgotten. I never will forget. And I will be an advocate for the rest of my life for women and their ability to choose how they will lose weight, and then my ability to support them around that choice. So this is my video about weight loss surgery and shame, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to sharing more.